Hey there, planners. Today I am going to be working on updating the task card system in my planner. I really want to change the look of my planner. We're getting close to fall, and I love these little task cards. They are so easy to make, and so today I'm going to walk through step by step how I make these task cards so that you can update your planner as well. So go grab your planners and let's get planning. All right, so first up, let's just take a look at how I'm using task cards and what task cards I have right now. And planner cards, task cards, there's different names for them. Sometimes task cards are the cards with the little sticky flags on them. I don't use those right now. I did give that a good go and just found that it wasn't a system that worked very well for me because the flags wore out really quickly. I moved them a lot. So I like to have cards, kind of reference cards, and also cards that add a little bit of decor. So if we pull these out and look at these, this one is just purely decorative. It has an A on it and a little patterned background, and then I put a different one on the back in case I wanted to flip over and have a little bit of a change. I could change the look of my planner just by sliding that in there and having the two different color sets. So basically this is a piece of paper that is cut down to the size of my pockets that I have printed and laminated. And that's pretty much it. I mean, it's really simple. The background images, I will show you where I get those from. These are copyright-free patterns and images that I'm using on the back. You could also use cardstock if you would like to do that, or your own design, pictures, things like that. So that one's decorative. This one is actually one of my favorite Bible verses, Esther 4:14. And so I have it just double-sided, printed on both sides with this really pretty pattern in the background. And then this one is a little cheat sheet for my goals, just the sort of the headline of each of my goals for this year, all 5 of them printed on here, and then I also have it in black and white on the back. So that is what is going on in my front pockets. Now, if I flip over to my back pockets, these pockets are actually a bit more functional. So I have weekly tasks, and what I've done on these is just written the title on the front with a pattern, and then on the back I just have white so it's easy to see. And I actually have a list of all of the weekly tasks that I need to kind of reference when I'm setting up my planner for the week. So I pull this out, I set it over to the side, and I just make sure I'm including things in my planning for the week, like grocery orders and trash day and printing items, things like that. I want to make sure I have those tasks captured appropriately. This next item is monthly tasks, same concept when I'm setting up my monthly planner. I just want to make sure I have this list nearby, and so I leave it over to the side. It just helps, I try not to rely on anything being retrievable in my brain, and so I put everything on paper. This is a planning routines, and it's just a little cheat sheet, daily, weekly, monthly. I get a lot of questions about how do I, how do I use my different planners. This is really kind of my cheat sheet for that. So, I have my Bible journaling and Bible reading, my everyday carry, my trackers, my to-dos, weekly setup, my my channel, YouTube channel planner on here, meal planning, all of that stuff, goal setting. It's all here laid out in a daily, weekly, monthly format. So just a cheat sheet to remind myself of my planning routine. And then this one is probably the most used in here, and this is no recipes dinners. So when I am meal planning, I like to pull this out and just reference it. It is meals that I can make very quickly. I usually have these items on hand. I don't need to order anything from the grocery store to be able to make these. And so this is a really quick reference when I am meal planning either for the month or the week. So that's my current system. And what you'll see from the colors, these are very summery, springy, summery colors, and I'm just kind of, we're rolling through August, headed into September soon. It's back to school time. I'm really starting to feel the fall vibes, guys. I am really starting to feel, I'm ready for pumpkin spice, whatever. So I wanted to just give my planner an update. When I go into set up September, it's going to definitely demonstrate a shift in seasons, and so I'd like to do a little bit of work on the card pockets to get them ready for the change in season. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, my DIY task cards and planner cards. So let me talk a little bit about the supplies that I'm going to be using and what you might want to go grab. Everything is going to be listed down in the description box below, so make sure you check that out if you're wanting to do this DIY. I will say that this is super simple. There may be other methods for doing this, and I don't claim to have the best, but this is the one I use and it works great for me. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. From a software standpoint, I am going to be using Microsoft Word. I find that super easy. Most people have some sort of Microsoft Word or Word document software. So as long as you have that, you can use it. I've seen other tutorials that use Canva or Adobe Photoshop, things like that. You can certainly use all that. Microsoft Word is probably the basic and one that a lot of folks have access to. So that's what I'm going to be using today, and I use it. That's what I use to design my planner cards. So I find it super simple. I'm also going to be using my Scotch Laminator, my little Scotch Laminator. This is one that has both the 3 and 5 mil settings for thickness of your laminating sheets. This thing is like my BFF. It is so simple to use. It heats up so quickly. I absolutely love this. I have found so many uses for this, so I would definitely recommend this if you are into planning. It really comes in handy, especially when you want to do some decoration on your own. I pulled out 2 laminating sheets. I don't know if I'll use both, but I wanted to have them both out and available. These are the Scotch laminating pouches, and they are 5 mils, so that's the thickness, a little bit thicker than the 3 mils. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Of course, you'll need a printer if you're going to be making these on your own and printing them out. And then everything else I'm going to show you, I'll show you when I start the tutorial. We're going to start with Pixabay, which is a place for copyright-free images. I really like to use copyright-free images. I think it's only fair to the folks who spend time, the artists who spend time, putting images out there. So that's where we're going to start. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over to my laptop and show you guys how to get started. All right, so first up, go ahead and navigate to the site Pixabay, and I'll have a link for this site down in the description box below. Pixabay is an absolutely awesome place to get copyright-free images, vector images, all kinds of things to use in your planner with no copyright obligations, which is fantastic. You can create an account, or you can just use it. It's free either way. So I've searched for cheetah and just taken a look at the different options. You can see right away I get a really cool pattern, but there are all kinds of images and patterns, all kinds of things that I could use. So I am going to go ahead and try to search a giraffe pattern just to see what comes up when I search this. I might want to use a giraffe pattern. You can see I get all these crazy images of giraffes and just trying different things. You can also narrow down to an illustration or a vector image. So if you don't want to use actual photos, you can get other types of images. So really the key here is to just kind of play around with it. You can also make a collection. If you have an account set up for free, you can make a collection and save some of your favorite images. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this giraffe pattern here because I do want to use this. I think the color scheme is good. I think it's going to go well with the project that I'm doing. So you download it for free in whatever size you think is going to be right for you and save it on your laptop as whatever the name is that you want to save it as. Okay, next step is to go ahead and start a new Word document. I like to change my margins to be narrow, just gives me more space to work in as I am creating my task card. So I'm going to bring in that image and paste it in, and now I need to get the size right. So it's really important that you measure the size of the pocket that you are working with, because you want to make sure your card that you print out is going to fit into your planner. So I have changed the image around so that I can move it around by selecting the position. And now I'm going to play with the size. And so I just go in and type the size that I want and then crop it down to be the length and height that I need. And, you know, I would say try to grab maybe a credit card or a driver's license, see how it fits, test it out, try different things in your pockets to make sure you get the right size. This might take a little bit of trial and error, so you may want to play with this a bit because you want to make sure your end product actually fits into your planner. So once I get the size the way I want it, then I'm going to make a copy and make a second box of that. And this is for the front and back. Now I'm going to show you here how to make a front and back if you want both sides to have the pattern. For this project in the end, I end up going with just a white background because I like the way that looks for, you know, being able to see it very clearly, and it saves me on ink, but I do want to go ahead and show you how you would make the front and back with the pattern. So I've inserted a text box, and I'm going to put that sort of in the middle of the back side where I want the words, and find the right font that you want to use. Make sure the text box is sized correctly, and you can play around to get that centered and, you know, figure out how much space you're going to need. For fonts, you always have the option to import free fonts from Google Fonts. That's a great option if you want to explore some different fonts. You can also change the background color of your text box. So if you want it to match a little better to the project that you're doing, you can play around with the different colors. You can even go to more colors and kind of match it to, you know, the project that you're doing, which you see me doing here. I'm playing around with the colors to try to get that matching color. All right, so I've got the color that I want. Now I start a bulleted list. So this is going to be, you know, my weekly planning items. I start bulleting a list of the things I want to have a quick reference to for when I am making my weekly plans. So now that I have my list, I actually want to create a second text box because I want 2 columns of lists. So I'm copying and pasting that original list into the new list so I can keep the format the same, and then just creating that second column of listed items. This is a great way to use the space on the back of your planning card and really make sure you have enough room to include all the items. So using that second box, I'm going to finish listing out all the things that I want on my weekly planning routine list. Okay, now I've got both lists done, and so I'm going to remove the outline because I don't want that line in the middle. And now I can start working on the header that I want for the front of the card. And I like to put a title on the front of the card near the top so that it will stick out. As I put my planner card in its pocket, I want to be able to see what the title of that planner card is. This might take a little bit of measuring, so you definitely want to make sure you break out the ruler, do maybe a test run, and kind of draw in where it should go. But once you have that figured out, pick your font, type your title in a new text box, and then we're going to play around and make sure that you can see the background. If you want to leave it white behind it, that's great, but you don't have to. Just get the size of your title correct, and then we can play around with the background. So I am actually selecting that I want no fill on the background, and that makes it transparent so that I can see the words. That allows me to be able to put it where I want to put it, and I'm actually stretching the text box the length of the card so that way the words end up right in the middle. All right, so there's the front and back of my first task card, and now I'm ready to complete the rest. I'll come back and show you what the rest of them look like when they're done. All right, so here's a look at all my planner cards done. I've pulled in all these awesome patterns. I did end up changing the headings to white. They just look good across all the different patterns that I'm using. So now that I have all my planner cards set up, I am ready to go ahead and print and get ready to laminate at all the next fun steps. All right, so I've got these guys printed out and I'm super happy with the way these came out. I think the colors are great. Now, one thing I will say on my printer, I don't have a really fancy printer, but one of the things I have found when I'm printing out patterns like this that have really unique colors, I do like to change the printing setting from the default normal print to the best quality. So if you are printing something out and for your planner and it doesn't quite look as nice, or it's got like some lines, or just not quite the quality that you want, try to adjust the quality settings on your printer. I find that really helps things come out the way I want to. The other thing I'll say is I wasn't quite sure how these colors were going to go with the Moroccan clay color of this Print Impressions planner. However, now that I see it printed out, I absolutely love it and I'm so excited. It feels so fall to me. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and flip on my laminator and get it set to a 5 mil laminating sheet so that can be warming up, and I'll just set that over to the side. And then I'm going to be cutting these out each individually, and you can see I have the front of the card and the back of the card. These go in the back slots of my planner, and then these are for the front slots in my planner that are vertical, and I'm going to be cutting them out. I decided just to go one-sided this time. I didn't really use the back side that much, so I'm going to go ahead and go one-sided this time on these. So let me get all of this cut out, and I'll come back and show you how I load them into the laminating sheets and get them all laminated. All right, so I've got everything cut out. I wanted to talk through just a couple things. So the front and back for these cards, I'm actually just going to use a little piece of double-sided tape. You could use really anything, like a adhesive, Tombow adhesive. You could use glue stick, whatever. The accuracy of the taping it down doesn't need to be great because honestly you're going to laminate it together anyway. So I'm just going to slap a little piece of double-sided tape on all of these to get them the fronts and backs together. And then for these are all cut out and ready to go. I did have to trim them a little bit, so what I would recommend is if you already have planner cards, take one of your planner cards and just make sure the sizing is correct, the width. So even though I followed the measurements, when I printed it out and cut it out, it was actually just a little bit too wide. So really good tip, make sure that your cards will actually fit in the pockets. And I would even say if you don't have already made cards that you can compare it to, go ahead and slip your card down inside your planner just to make sure it fits. And remember that you want a little bit of room because as you can see here, there is just a little bit of lamination of the laminating pouch on the outside, and you need that in order to keep it sealed. So you're going to have to make sure you have enough room, cut it small enough that you have enough room to leave that little edge of lamination so that it stays sealed in the lamination pouch. The other thing I grabbed is my corner rounder. I'm going to go ahead and round the top corners of all of them. I just think it looks nice. So you can see here I've rounded them on the previous cards that I made. I'm going to go ahead and round all of the corners, and that way it just kind of looks a little finished when I put it in the planner. So let me do that and then we'll get to laminating. All right, so I've got everything rounded, I've got all the backs taped on, I'm ready to go. And now I'm going to put them in the laminating pouch. So I grabbed 2, which I do believe I'm going to need 2, because you want to keep in mind you don't want to put your cards too close together because you are going to have to cut them out. And again, there's that a space between that you need to have a little bit of room to cut them out with extra on the edge because they need to seal. So I'm going to see how many cards I can fit in here where I think I will have enough room to have that good sealing. And the order really doesn't matter. Ooh, I might be able to get them all in here. Maybe, let's see. The order really doesn't matter. What's important is just that you've got that space around them. Oh yeah, yay, I can get them all in one sheet, which is great because laminating pouches are not cheap. I will say, if you don't have a laminator, you can absolutely still do this task, this DIY, because I will have listed down in the description box below an alternative if you don't have a laminator. There are some self-laminating pouches that you can use. Now, I've used several different brands, and the ones I have listed down below are my favorite because I find they work the best. So those are the ones that I would recommend. All right, I'm just going to check my spacing one more time. Make sure I feel like I have good spacing around everything to get that good seal and still have room to cut it out. And I think I do. So now I'm going to close up my sheet and just kind of run it through so I don't have any air. And now it's time to laminate. Now, I will tell you, the most difficult part of laminating for me is getting it in there straight. I have the hardest time. I equate this to putting down a sticker in a box that is perfectly straight. I can't do that either. So I am going to try for you all to do my very best to get it straight in there. And I'm sure it has something to do with the angle that I'm using. And then I just hold it so that none of the cards move around because it's not sticky, so they will absolutely move around if you do not take good care to make sure they're steady. Now I will run this through the laminator 2 or 3 times because I really want to make sure, since I'm going to be cutting them very close to the edge, as close as possible, I want to make sure I have really good seals around these cards. So I'm going to go ahead and process these through probably 3 times today, and then I'll come back and we'll get to cutting. All right, so laminating done, and I actually grabbed, in addition to the cards, since I already had the laminating sheet out, I went through this Happy Planner sticker book that I have, and I found this great little sticker. It says, "Be true to you," and so I did this on the sticker on this side, and I stuck it on some leopard print or cheetah print paper that I had with another sticker from that book that just said "Stay Wild." I thought that was a nice extra. This is actually for a different project that I was working on because you never want to waste space in your laminating sheets. You want to pack them as full as possible. So I thought, great time to go ahead and laminate this for a different project that I'm working on. And then this is a couple of sheets of, I actually found this in my scraps bin. I had these 2 scraps left over from a different project, and I went ahead and laminated them because I've got this great space here, and right now I've got a laminated cardstock here and just some stickers. I thought that I could use this actually and some of my color palette sticky notes. I'll find the right ones, but actually put some sticky notes up here because I do find myself reaching for my planner and wanting to grab an additional sticky note. So I thought I'd put those there, and it would be a great way to kind of use up that space. So now it's time to cut these out. And the key here is to make sure that you do not cut so close to the card that you actually unzip or release the seal that is there. And if you look very closely, and I'm probably not going to be able to show you this on camera, but if you look very closely, there is a line where you can see where the seal starts around each one of them. So you just want to pay really close attention and cut very carefully. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of this out, and then it will be the moment of truth. Did I do it correctly? Will they fit in my planner? All right, so here they are all cut out, and I've been very careful to make sure I didn't break any of the seals on the laminate. So now is the moment of truth. Will these guys fit into the planner? And so I'm going to start with the back pockets, and let me just pull out the old ones, and I'll definitely keep these. I mean, these are great for pulling out next spring, so I'm going to tuck those away until next spring. But let's see, I'll start with planning routines, and it is a great fit. So luckily, because otherwise you may not have ever seen this video. If I got to this point and it didn't fit, I probably would have scrapped this video and started over. So you can see that these fit perfectly and they are really changing the look of the planner. I love the way the animal print goes with this color. I think this is really nice. So now let me get to the front pockets. So I'll pull out this one and pop in, and I really have options here. I could either do this side, or I could use this side. I think I'm going to go with the cheetah print. Is that cheetah? Comment down below. Is that cheetah or leopard? I really have no idea. But I am going to add some sticky notes because I think this is a great place to keep some extra sticky notes, and maybe even pop in some of the light pink to match the color scheme here. If you haven't seen these, I'll have these listed down below. These are really fantastic sticky notes. I get them off Amazon, and there are tons of options. Color palette stickies. I have a lot of them for all different seasons, but I just love using them in my planner, and they really do come in handy. I love the size, and the sticky is really good. All right, so let me pop this one out for goals and pop the new goals in. Yay! It is a fit. And take out my Bible verse and put my new Bible verse in. And then finally the decorative one, pop this one in. And this is the one that is kind of tricky because it is visual all the way down. And it fits perfectly. Oh, I love that. I think that is so neat. All right, and then I have this one extra little guy, and I was thinking of switching it out for my Starbucks sticker. My daughter worked at Starbucks this summer, and so I really liked having that here. Just she brought that to me from Starbucks, but I think I'm gonna switch it up and go with the Stay Wild sticker to match the rest of the planner. All right, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this gives you good inspiration to create your own task cards or planner cards. So simple to do. It takes no time at all. And you know, these are things that you can use over and over again. So you could really create a lot of different sets. You could do photos, just so many options here. And it's a great way to switch out the look of your planner for the season. I recently did a video about when you are losing planner peace and you feel like you hate your planner. One idea to get over that is to change up the decor in your planner, and this is a super simple way to do that. Leave all your questions and comments down below. I'd love to hear questions from you. Are you trying this out? Do you have other ideas? What kind of planner cards do you use in your planner? How do you switch up this for the season in your planner? If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. As always, subscribe to Planning Annie for more content like this, and thanks for planning with me.